Southeast region is said to have lost about 4 trillion naira to the sit-at-home order of the outlawed Indigenous People of Biafra in the last 2 years. According to the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, the order being observed every Monday across the 5 states of the region has stifled economic growth and has forced potential investors out of the Southeast.
Recall that the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, announced a total lockdown of social and economic activities every Monday starting from August 9th, 2021 in the southeast region of the country to demand the freedom of its incarcerated leader, Nnamdi Kanu, who of course has been in custody of the Department of State Services, DSS. To, of course, expand on these conversations, we're going to be joined in a bit by a member of the House of Representatives, of course, who is from the Southeast and has lived in the Southeast, for a long time. But these conversations are mostly centered around what happens next, with the new leadership in the Southeast. There have been, elections, there are new governors, the call for the end to the sit-at-home and to the terrorism of the IPOB has increased. Ifeanyi, of course, I remember a few weeks ago was in a video clip, asking persons in his community to end the sit-at-home and ensure that, of course, they take the fight. Not necessarily take the fight, but that they shouldn't, continue, with the whole sit-at-home narrative. The governor of Enugu State, Peter Amba, of course, in a letter over the weekend to teachers across Enugu State was, seemingly demanding that they get back to work on Mondays, and that there will be punitive measures for these principals or these schools, if they do not get back to work on Mondays and open the schools for people. But, I think we've repeatedly said this, and at this point, it will be shocking if governors in the Southeast do not still understand what people are saying, that if they do not feel safe, they will not come out.
It's not for lack, it's not for want of, need to disobey the government.
Exactly.
It's mainly because of fear of their life and their property.
Not just disobeying the government. It's not for, it's not because people just like to sleep in on Mondays, and not do anything. They do not necessarily enjoy the extended weekend. It is because they do not feel safe. And because of that, they will continue to stay in. But now we would have to question, whether the Southeast governors are able to, set up security architecture enough to protect the people, or we still have to rely on the federal government. And of course, the silence of the federal government is also telling here. But now let's, say good morning and welcome to Honorable Professor Paul Namchi. He is a House of Representatives member, Enugu East Isuzu Federal Constituency. Thank you, Honorable, for joining us, and good morning to you. Professor, can you hear us? Good morning.
Yes, effectively, I can hear you.
All right. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
You. Can you hear me too?
Yes, we
can hear you.
Loud and clear. Thanks for joining us. So I think we can get straight into...
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. All right. I want us to get straight into it. Of course, the conversations are centered, at least for starters, mostly around the sit-at-home order in the Southeast and how the Southeast is suffering. It's another Monday morning. The Enugu State governor, of course, has given orders to teachers across the school and school principals and the likes to ensure that schools are open, on Monday morning. The same thing that Charles Solu, the Anambra State governor, tried when he got into office, but none of these things seem to be working. In the next couple of hours, we will see whether Enugu people came out, fully. But I want you to share your thoughts on why it is becoming so difficult to end the sit-at-home order in the Southeast.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Please, can you come back with the question, because it was difficult for me to make it up when you...
I'm asking your views on ending the sit-at-home order in the Southeast, why it has become so difficult, and what you think must be done if, we're going to see the Mondays in the Southeast come back, to life.
Personally, I think it's a lot to do, but also we have to appeal to the people that is not to a good end, but at the same time that our people, everybody can understand that people deserve better, and we can also do better. But the sit-at-home hasn't solved the problem. We might also find a quick solution. But being one of the lawmakers and also being one of the opinion holders here, I also think that the best should be to appeal to our people to know that there is other ways to solve the problem and can be exploited. But most importantly, those of us in the House are making efforts to see that the release Nnamdi Kalu, which has also been the immediate cause. But there's also other things that are remote causes, which are also the people suffering in the southeast. That was actually started with issues we are dealing with today. But actually, it is long overdue that we stop it, that it ends. But also that the people should be heard. Probably a kind of negotiation to the key players may also help out to solve this problem.
All right, so a quick question would be the fact that there have been a number of people who have said that the sit-at-home order is like spiting your eyes, or biting your nose to spite your eyes, basically hurting yourself, and that it's hurt the people of the East. How exactly, I mean, you've talked about negotiations being brought into consideration. Is this, some have argued that this is not really something that can really aid the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Like, whilst many people are clamoring that he be released based on the judgments of the court, but will this sit-at-home order really, is that really the way to go about it? Will even negotiations cost anything to get better? And is this something that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself is in support of?
Well, let me start from your last question. I have not met him, so I wouldn't know if it is something he will support or not. But the only thing that it is hurting our people. But another thing is also that word compromise. There is a new government, so there must be a new push to get him out of the incarceration. There is need that he comes out. There is need that some element of negotiation comes to play. Politics is not about fighting. It is about also combined diplomacy with every other thing around it to make sure that you get to a solution. It is no longer a one approach issue now. It's supposed to be a multiple issues to make sure that these people that he comes out, but at the same time that peace reigns in our land, that normalcy returns again. That's what I feel. That word compromise must be applied in everything. As a government, it is about making people, because there's also other element that will come to play after all. That is poverty. That is people no employment. Because an idle man is a devil's workshop. People are being used to do that. Those people also need jobs. They need employment. They need good life. These are the multiple approaches I think that to be employed to solving that.
I'm sure, I'm not the only one who would argue that, the case currently now, if you're talking about negotiations, might even be harder for any government, seeing that it is, the IPOB and its members have spread terror in the Southeast. This is no longer a peaceful protest for his release. This is now seemingly spreading terror across the Southeast. It has led to violence against people of the Southeast. And the Nigerian government will not be held to ransom by these individuals, to release its leaders so that they can allow people to go back their lawful activities. What are they going to demand next? And, next time that they place a demand, is the Nigerian government or the Southeast going to be under siege again? So it's hard to even negotiate at any point, concerning these things. But I want to go further, and talk about, your role in the House of Reps. What are the conversations like amongst, House of Rep members concerning the Southeast? I'm talking about members from the Southeast now. You spoke about, a push earlier. What are the conversations like?
Well, we're not relenting. That's exactly what the conversation are. We're not relenting anything that will ensure peace in the zone. We're not relenting anything that will ensure stability and also good governance. Because good governance actually is those of us who are in the position today. It's not just we are also both consumers and also givers in this case. If there's peace in your zone, if you come, you will enjoy the peace. If you don't provide peace, you don't enjoy it. So whatever you
All right. We, of course, would try to reconnect with Honorable Paul Namchi. He's a House of Reps member representing Enugu East, Isuzu local government area in the federal House of Reps, basically, under the Labour Party. And the conversations are about improving on the situation in the Southeast, the siege that has been laid on residents of the Southeast by the Indigenous People of Biafra, who have continued to demand, in a very criminal way, you know, in my opinion, for the release of their leader. These are some of the things that, of course, we'll continue to speak about. And I was saying earlier that it's hard for you to negotiate with people who have, you know, laid terror on the southeastern region of the country.
He who comes to equity must come with clean hands.
Absolutely. Because what you've done now is tell the federal government that you are armed and dangerous. And because you are armed and dangerous, almost, you know, I can call them a terror group, you can't be trusted.
Right.
And the Nigerian government would not cower to your demands because, well, you're you know, demanding something else. Honorable Namji, welcome back. I was trying to get clarity on what exactly the moves that are being the moves that are being made by members of the House of Representatives or in the Senate from the Southeast. What are the conversations like? I understand that you've said that, you know, you leave no stone unturned, but can you be specific in any way on something that has been said or that is being said?
I guess you asked me to repeat the answer, I guess.
No, I'm asking for specificity on the things that are being said in the House of Reps or in the National Assembly by members from the Southeast.
Okay, members of the Southeast they have a caucus where they meet each time to discuss their common problems and also common goals. In those, we resolve to see the new executives both in the House and also the executives with the president and others, but also to make sure that there will be a political solution to it. Well, you don't just take off everything out of the burner. If release of Nnamdi will be the best approach, I think they can't. There's nothing wrong if he's released from bail again, and when government changes face, there's a lot of things that also change. Let that be that could be also a marked point in this administration that he's released. When he's released, let us see if that criminality will continue or if the situation will continue. I think that his release will be a very big turning point in that situation issues. But no one would actually wish his people to have such to be in this condition. It's really wrong. It has actually given it's setting our people back. Right. We are progressive people.
My point, you know, Honorable Namchi, is...
Hello?
Yes, but if you can hear me, my point is that it seems like the Nigerian state is being held to ransom by a group of people. And it's going to be harder to cower to their demands because it's almost the same thing as, you know, ISWAP. You may argue that they're not the same type of terror organization or some same type of group. But if they have been able to lay siege against the Southeast, then they're pretty much doing almost the same thing that ISWAP or Boko Haram, anybody or other person did. And so anybody arguing that anybody, you know, arguing that, oh, maybe some ISWAP, you know, terror leaders, you know, that have been held in prisons in the north should be released to end the siege, it doesn't sound okay. But now, before we might get back to the conversations in the Southeast, I want us to talk about other things. In the last couple of days, there's been some criticism about Labour Party members who just got into the National Assembly. There have been questions asked as to whether they are a party to the 70 billion naira that is being, you know, sought after, you know, for National Assembly members, or the 40 billion naira that is being used to buy SUVs for National Assembly members. And if Labour Party members in the National Assembly are speaking against it, or they, you know, are all in it to receive.
I think, let me just make this very clear. that the Labour Party should not be singled out for one thing or the other to malign our integrity. I'm just hearing this in the television and the newspaper, just like yourself. When you say National Assembly, what was brought to the House is the palliative. That's going to be no one gave us anything, any hint, any paper to show that this amount is for SUVs or non-SUVs or other things belonging to the National Assembly. No one did. And at the same time, I also want to tell you, we are in to see that to end people's suffering as a result of fuel increase, electricity power increase, and all sorts of things that have befallen the people for the time being. So no one was given any paper to say sign or pass because the SUV will be given to you, or now anybody actually met us or converts that. No one has done that. So all of us have seen it in the national dailies and maybe television, just like you are asking me. We have no hand in it, and Labour Party and its executive will never, at some point, at any point, compromise our integrity because we came on the people's interest. It is because of failure of the system or that party that we came, that some of us are now politicians.
Okay, so, I'm mostly sharing, some of the questions that I have seen people ask. And of course, if you are saying now that there is nothing like 70 billion naira to ease the working conditions of National Assembly members, there's nothing like 40 billion naira to buy SUVs for National Assembly members, then those would be quoted to you, and you will be, of course, Nigerians are going to see that.
I said, to my own understanding, I haven't seen such paper.
Okay.
They might be, but when it gets to me, then I will see. I haven't seen such paper. I wasn't asked. I didn't sign anything towards that. But also, one thing I also have noticed in the National Assembly is there is this horizontal and vertical approach. The National Assembly has about 7,000 workers. That also, I see that they work hand in hand with the people representing. They have National Assembly Service Commission. They also National Assembly Endowment and all those parastatals there. You also have 8 working there. Are all these people going to be given cars? No. Are the lawmakers now? You have on the horizontal ladder. You also see the senator. Senator is 109, and that of House of Representatives, that's 360 or 360 or 367. 360, sorry. I don't see the area where just buy the SUV, buy the car, will take all these things that you say. I don't see that. I don't know. And I've not been brought to our table. I can tell you, as far as of today, not even a month salary has been given to us. As I'm talking today.
Right.
No money has been given to us as salary. There is nothing given to us as maybe any say furniture as people continue to insinuate or maybe housing. And we're not complaining to anybody. But the thing is that what we came up to say is that let there be good governance for our people. Let there be change. Let the system work. That's what some of us are here to do. Yeah.
We'd also like to find out, what your thoughts are, what the Labour Party's position is as regards President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 8,000 naira monthly palliative that is stipulated to help Nigerians cushion the effect of the recent increase in price and increase in cost of living. Is the Labour Party in support of it? Are you in support of it?
There is always a modality how incentives are given. I don't think the trade money type of relationship, the type of palliative still succeeds. And also, I think they also, I'm yet to get the full information on how they want to distribute that. Because sometimes the data is not just, we don't have enough data in the country to know the families who are giving those money. These are some of the problems you might encounter if you're giving anybody money. And if you have increased transportations and all that, Is giving them work going to solve the problem for 1 year, or just giving to them to eat for 1 day? That's a lot of questions that we ask if such things are produced, are canvassed. I think the best is get those systems that will lower down the cost of transportation, get the refineries working so that we can also have effective and cost of living, because the petroleum cost also affects every other thing in the country. Just supposing that this is actually where our mainstay of the economy comes from. So anything that affects the petroleum affects a lot of the living. So also things like a hike in electricity. A lot of things have been increasing, but the salaries of workers have remained stagnant. These are things you can actually talk about. These are things you can actually increase, and it will really have a good impact on the society.
So just to clarify,
we want to have society, not just giving people.
Yeah, just to clarify, there was an 800 billion plus supplementary budget. Is this? Can we clarify that it has been passed?
It is not. I think what was brought to the National Assembly is
Please go ahead.
Okay, what was brought to the National Assembly is 500 billion.
Okay.
Not 800 billion. And it was coming from 222 appropriation bill. And some of what I noticed, what I saw there is that they're taking money from certain projects and putting as a form of into the 500 pause that the president required. It's not 800. 800 was the remaining. It's actually 800 billion was what is remaining. But what they asked the National Assembly to pass for them is 500 billion. So I don't know where the appropriation has come, where that 800 or so is coming from.
No, I mean, the report says that the government had asked for 819, I think, billion naira supplementary budget. And of course, from there, that was where the 500 billion was meant to be used, taken out of, to, of course, for the palliatives. So is that report wrong?
I think what was presented to us is that of palliative. I don't know if any other one, to be honest.
Okay, so this is where the question, I think, came from. That yes, 500 billion was presented, to, of course, for palliatives for the Nigerian people.
As I said before.
Yes.
As I said before, I haven't seen that paper, unless it's going to come in future, and I don't know anything about it. What I'm aware of is what you said, what I just answered about the 500 billion. And you asked me about the 8,000. I said I don't know about it. The executive have not made us aware of such 8,000, because 8,000 is not just about changing. It's not about just killing somebody for a day. It's about changing the life pattern and about good governance, offering good governance to Nigeria.
All right. Professor or Honorable Paul Namchi, thank you very much for your time this morning. And of course for joining us. We wish you an interesting time in the National Assembly, and we would love to speak with you again.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.